Chapter 6. Part of a Whole. Lost. My path was uncertain as the weather of the coming days, unclear and foggy. My route was hanging in the balance, as if my own world were tied to strings and swung at the mercy of whatever divine being guided me. My father's death, whiplash to my heart, this new power, a surge to my mind, and now I am being greeted by a bright presence. Despite the sudden introduction, she warms me to my core. Zara's a friend I never knew I wanted. Her light bolstered a new age of optimism in me. Perhaps my birth father would be truly a kind soul. It wasn't too long before both lights entered Aka's vicinity. Deep brown roots breached the earth, and an awesome tower of wood erected from the ground. Marks carved in a surreal manner almost suspended all belief. How could such gorgeous art form by natural means? I didn't know what to make of them, but they clearly told a story I did never fully understand. At the top of the wonderful tree, an assortment of branches joined together to form a circular place of note. If the ancestral trees were thrones to kings and queens, then the spirit tree housed something divine. The elegant shape signified the resting place for a light vessel. Yet I couldn't believe the things nature created. An abundance of history spoke in the illustrations carved throughout the magnificent body, and at its peak, the storyteller would reside and give voice to the tree. That is part of their purpose. The vessels grant a voice to our founding fathers. It is through this symbiotic relationship that my kind are born, and it is a sacred pair we all honor and respect. Zara climbed through the sky, trailing her green light behind her. The wispy glow occupied all of my attention, as well as what she did next. Zara claimed her throne, and with it, the countless flowers of a cherry blossom bloomed and raised Aka to life. My awestruck wonder looked silly in a way. My mouth held agape as if I'd forgotten about it, and I just stood there, unaware of my surroundings. That is, until my birth father spoke and laughed.
"My child, are you well?"
My cranial appendages jumped straight for the sky, as did I.
Yeah, sorry.
"It's quite all right. I understand your surprise. I imagine you've only set eyes upon my grandeur in books."
Yeah, but my daddy, he read books to me.
Once again, there were no visible indicators for facial expressions, but Zara made their intentions simple to understand.
"I see. If it's all right, could I ask where he is, the one who raised you? I'd be honored to offer an extension of my gratitude to the Moki who nurtured you in my hour of weakness."
All the large words spun my head round as the cotton we ran through. My confuzzled expression made this plenty evident to Aka.
"I'm sorry. What I mean is, I would like to thank him for raising you all this time."
Oh, he's Daddy's not.
My cup of emotions ran over and spilled into the grass below as I fell to my knees. I cried, sobbed, and even as I rubbed my eyes, the tears kept coming. The cup never ran dry. I couldn't stop the flow. My emotions poured. I'd been so happy not long ago, and now being reminded of his sacrifice ruined all of that. This flow did have an end, though. An end by Aka's hand. The sobbing stopped. My waters no longer worked, and warmth, unlike the sun, patched the mental damage I suffered. 3 streams of green light orbited my body, raising the somber feelings to delightful encouragement.
"It's okay. I'm so sorry, Luke. I do not wish to distress you. No child should ever go through such pain and such loss. That's why I called you here."
I claimed a moment of silence and dried my tears. A minor remnant of sobbing remained, but soon subsided as I spoke.
You called me?
"Yes, of course. That's why Zara went out looking for you."
Admittedly, the skeptic in me worried why a stranger requested my presence, but then I remembered what Zara said about helping me. My attitude flipped from skepticism to enthusiasm.
Oh, yeah. Please help me. Make the red glow go away, please.
My pleas were all coupled with baby doll eyes and interlocked hands.
"There's no need to beg, my son. I'm more than happy to heal those awful wounds of yours.
You will? Thank you!
It's nothing for one such as you. I just need you to sit down and close your eyes. Let yourself relax, and I'll do what I can to restore your light. All right?
Okay, I've been practicing lots.
Very good. Now relax. I'll guide you through the process.
My eyes closed in a delicate manner as I sat upon the cotton-mixed grass, my tail furled around my cross-legged position, and my arms took refuge in my lap, completing the seated ritual.
I want you to imagine the rain. Drops of water from above came to soak the earth in its cool embrace. Don't fixate on the darkness the clouds bring. Think of what comes after and what the fluid will provide. All the dirt, dried and cracked, will now be mended, healed, allowed to nurture the land with fresh green grass. Look at the flowers as they bloom. Watch as they accept the wonder of the rain. Watch as the leaves of the trees lend their hand by pouring water from their arms down to the earth, moisturizing the burning earth below.
An artist painted the landscape before my very eyes. Flowers sprung anew, almost as if they waited for this day for so long. Grass too sprouted as more rain aided in their thirsty plight. Even the trees obtained much-needed nutrients.
That rain speaks not only for the plants, but for you. Allow yourself to remember the feeling of rain passing through your fur. Let it wash the filth from your wounded mind. Give in to the flow. Don't fight it. You've experienced nothing but warmth that hurt, that scarlet light that burned. The rain will cool your fears, put out the flames that pain you.
The flow he spoke of weaved sensations unlike any before. A sweep of serenity passed over and cast a new radiance in place of the horrors I had experienced. A major portion of the agony experienced a crippling loss in their nutrients and perished, which cast a flash of refreshment. The rain, indeed, saved me from a significant portion of the anguish I'd lived with all my life. I felt lighter.
I'm sorry. That is all the aid I can offer to you, Luke.
The canvas only appeared half complete, but even so, I'd never felt lighter in all my life. I opened my eyes for the first time since my rebirth and took a deep breath, absorbing the air with my new state of mind. The flood of ecstasy that flushed across my entire being seemed unbelievable. The common sight of the worst pictures imaginable rang so synonymously that I could scarcely believe I even existed in this moment. Years of decay reigning supreme, only to be crippled to such a degree, left me in shock. I could only bring myself to say one thing to Aka.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much.
You're welcome, Luke. I only wish I could have cleared you of that poison completely. My light is not what it once was.
Aka's claims seemed uncharacteristic of his grand stature. His light seemed unmatched, and though Zara's appearance didn't inspire complete confidence, she still shined beautifully. After a prolonged moment of taking in the new lease on life, I finally acknowledged the giant in the room.
What do you mean? You helped me. I feel so much better, Ika, sir.
Their silence, paired with a dim glow, implied a great deal of sadness, which concerned me.
We barely managed to bring your light back to half its true capacity. You were very close to being lost to us.
The sheer shock of their bold claim knocked me off my paws.
I was dying?
Shh. Ease yourself, son. Yes, but we've stopped that from ever happening, Luke. Much of the decay in your body is gone. What remains will never have enough might to do any significant damage. And those visions you see are far less likely to happen. Regrettably, neither of us have the light to spare. Therefore, we're unable to fully restore you. Your light is only half of what it should be. I'm so sorry.
A pair of unbelievable things baffled me. Near death and only half of my light restored? Somehow I felt amazing, even without all my essence being present.
It's okay. Really, I'm still happy. I don't have to have all of it to be thankful.
My uncertainty with such a simple concept embarrassed me so much, though thankfully Aka was a merciful father.
You're correct, Luke. Thank you for understanding. I'd love to send you on your way, but first, it's time you learned about what you're facing here in Zoe. You're aware of decay, but not how it got here. It's time you learned the history of our bountiful lands. Are you ready?
Yeah, I want to know.
My tail wagged with glee.
All right, silly, listen up.
Okay.
I suspected my ears would be loaded with information, so I got comfortable and listened well.
Zoe wasn't always known by a proper name. Originally, it acted as a bridge between Nibel and Newen. I'm sure you've heard this. Well, it was I who turned this bridge into a land everyone could live on. Without a spirit tree, a landmass like this would be completely collapsed under decay's toxins. I was fascinated by the land and absolutely loved the creatures who traveled through it. All of their stories and personalities made visiting the location worthwhile. I was from Nibel, and while I enjoyed my time there, my best memories were always in Zoe.
Why didn't spirits protect it? Maybe it didn't have to have a tree.
Aka laughed, as if the answer were obvious.
If that were the case, we'd flock to protect all treeless lands. Our light is limited, and the distance between Nibel and Newen was vast. It'd be too much effort for all the spirits to try and defend. Besides, I was the only one with enough enthusiasm. Actually, that leads me to how we made this land our home.
I piped up. My excitement levels increased substantially.
How? How?
A transformation never seen before.
Aka's tone changed considerably. It took on a more dramatic aura.
What was it?
Zine and the Seer happened to notice my dedication to this nameless land. They came to me and revealed a long-forgotten secret. They could make another light vessel. A spirit in a light vessel allowed for the rebirth of a vessel, but the birth of an entirely new light source required a substantial amount of energy. Not only did they need me, they needed to send massive amounts of their power simultaneously, and the price of such a process was their energy. It took a long time for the two lights to bloom in full again. In the end, it worked. Zara was born, and with her, I became what you see now through years of growth.
I sat awestruck with wonder. The marvel of her nature touched my heart.
Wow, that's so cool. Wait, but why is your light, not enough?
Because of Gideon.
A rush of chills invaded my fur and spurred a gasp. The name never once featured in any of Abba's text or muttered in the mouths of villagers. It simply set me off by the mere mention of its name.
What's that?
It's the cause of all this distress. The Blight Night. Have you heard of the catastrophe that split our land from the once connected forests?
A little. Daddy said there was a big fight against decay. That's why we have a desert somewhere.
It used to be part of the jungle, but now it's a haven for some of the deadliest predators in all of Zoe. However, worst of all, it separated us from Nibel and Newen. The decay festered so much that it managed to shatter all semblance of a breach. Countless lives were lost to its crumbling foundation. I can scarcely believe the wave of grief we all endured. The only saving grace was that most of the decay was crushed by all the chunks of land it shattered. That left us with significantly less to defeat. Many spirits bravely took the fight to the sludge. Our 5 greatest warriors, Roy, Florin, Leap, Gip, and Glow, the Cherry Knights, led the charge into one of history's most vicious battles. A great deal laid slain, and in the end, we won. but only just barely. Subtle remains of the vile substance slipped from our grasp, and we were far too wounded to pursue the vermin. That was 55 years ago, and as you can see, our victory didn't last.
What happened? Did it come back?
Every story I heard always ended in a satisfying way. A victory, sad departure, or a combination of bitter and sweet. None of them were incomplete, and something told me I'd be tasked with completing the book.
It was my fault. I didn't listen, and as a result, every spirit born of me perished in the span of a month. Not even the Jerry Knights could endure the way it ravaged us all. Once Florin perished, so too did Glow, the tree you encountered down there. That was her.
His voice ached as if reliving the past he recalled firsthand. An overwhelming sadness beat the two of us down.
She was the one who healed.
Indeed. Glow healed anything she touched in a blanket of profound radiance. This tender power, ironically, harmed Decay the most. Without restorative power like hers, we'd never have stood a chance to begin with. Florin hurled spheres of light, which burst into a flash that blinded her enemies for a time. While doing some damage, she carried a burden unlike most others. She was blind.
Blind?
Yes, it means she couldn't see, even with her eyes opened. You've seen the fog in your homeland. Imagine that, but completely covering your eyes. That's what she lived with.
Their peculiar circumstance almost seemed fabricated. I couldn't imagine living without eyes to see.
That sounds really hard. How did she fight so well?
Florin refused to let her affliction limit her abilities. She hardly ever backed down. She was a beacon none could ignore.
She's so cool. Can I be like her someday?
She and I shared a common link. Our eyes didn't work at the intended capacity. To me, her unyielding resolve meant that I too could be great. However, Aka didn't answer my question how I expected. A single string of light traveled down from Zara to me and grazed my neck. An endearing fit of giggles poured out in response.
You should be just like you, Luke. Follow her example, of course. But always strive to be yourself, no matter what anyone says about it.
Their playful light string soon left, as did my laughter. From then on, Aka continued the story. He neared the tail end of the tragic tale, and based on their sorrow-filled tone, the two of them likely wanted to be finished recounting it as soon as possible.
Leap's tail acted as a weapon all its own. By channeling his light through it, he could slam any enemy into the ground and shatter a beast's hide if necessary. It acted as a travel tool. The primary use of this lightweight limb was bouncing from the ground to the tops of trees and beyond. This combined with his short-hopping travel style made him the most agile of the knights. Gip, though not born with a conventional weapon, made do. His power allowed him to grapple to distant surfaces in an instant. Gip could also swing from the sturdy blue tether if he wished. That was their main purpose, but due to the strength of the string of light, as well as the hardy tip, they acted as brutal whips. The sheer force behind each swing caused every hit to sting like countless wasps. His precision, rivaled by none other, earned him the title Vitalis. It basically means he could hit weak points with ease. Leap's speed is unmatched, and most armor he penetrated. Florin's orb staggered all foes, and her determination kept her fighting spirit intact. Glow's kindness soothed every soul she touched, healing almost any affliction. Gip's precision afforded him a role and a nickname. However, Roy led the band of great lights with authority and fortitude. I've never met anyone sturdier than this spirit. His blade, like Ori's, cut down countless adversaries and sliced Decay into a disgusting pool. Roy carried not just a sword, but a shield, and that shield withstood thousands of hits. This knight stood his ground against all odds. Florin's determination is legendary, but Roy's creed honed a resolve very few could attribute so strongly.
Creed?
I said, bending a brow as my ear raised.
Think of it as something you live by. A creed is a belief you guard with all your heart.
Oh, what did he believe?
Protect the lightless. Stand for those who walk in light. Defend the land you hold dear, and strike those dark and unclear. Roy cared fiercely for the living. If Amokia were under threat, he'd swoop in, blade in hand. That went for every living being. He didn't kill without purpose. If someone fell under fire, he'd take the hit without hesitation. Having a shield didn't matter to him. Roy pushed forward even if it meant wounding himself. He refused to fall until everyone around could breathe peacefully.
Roy was incredible. He faced all obstacles fearlessly and prepared. It wasn't any wonder why that spirit led the Cherry Knights.
My gosh, they're all so amazing. How could any of them how did they die?
As I told you, Gideon is to blame. After the loss of Florin and Glow, the remaining knights were slain. Leap went first, but because decay is always adapting, it formulated a cruel strategy for us. The construct that splayed the spry lad absorbed his memory.
What?
Yes. It couldn't use the light, of course, but by reading its memory, it gained the ability to use Leap's technique. Not only that, it could speak as we do.
A sudden flash of airy voices infiltrated my senses for a brief moment. The memory of 5 terrible words clicked in an instant. I realized why I had shivers upon hearing its name, because I'd heard its voice before. The violent urge to break down, cry, and give in to the terrors that passed burst into my mind, coating it in the void.
No! Please, no!
Disturbed looks into the past flashed visions of victims I created. Abba, Mimi, Mick, and so on all began resurfacing as the melting monsters of my nightmares. I quickly covered my head with my arms. I desperately wanted this to be a bad dream. I wanted all signs of this surreal plane to cease.
Luke, wake up! It's all an illusion. None of it is real.
These fleshy phantoms all started their swift decline into the recesses of my mind. Their final words to me were as follows.
That shriveling sap spitter!
The fields returned to cotton beds, and the tree stood before me with streams of light that soothed this shaken soul. Aka did say the visions were less, not gone altogether. This served as a bold reminder.
Luke, dear Luke, are you all right?
Their voice fluctuated a tad. I still needed a moment to regain all sense of footing. After a brief moment of intense breathing, I replied.
Yeah, I'm okay.
The sight of Zara's light flowing back to her and Aka showed me his immense relief.
Oh, thank goodness. I am so sorry. I shouldn't have put so much on you all at once.
No, it's okay. Really.
The line of protest didn't convince Aka. After all, being my second father, he could more acutely sense the distress.
Nonsense. I'll finish all of this storytelling here. All you need to know is that Gideon's a threat you must be very careful of. I deeply regret asking you to chase this parasite around, but Luke, to be honest, you're my only hope.
A sudden shift into desperation reminded me of how dire things were. I was likely the last spirit in Zoe, and without me, all may have fallen into darkness.
Luke, my precious light, are you willing to take on this horrific task? Are you willing to be the light Zoe needs?
The fact that he thought for a second I'd reject his cry for help seemed silly. I could never imagine myself turning down his pleas, even now.
Always! I promised Daddy that I would. I want to be your light if you think I can. I don't want to live in a world where someone like Gideon is running around. I don't want everyone else to see what I've seen. I'm scared, so scared. But I'm even more scared of doing nothing. Please, Dad, tell me what I have to do.
Aka was always Aka to me. The only father I ever knew for most of my life was Abba. However, after everything the tree had done for me, I couldn't resist the urge. He became a second dad to me. He earned that. Doing so felt strange, though. It was like trying new food for the first time, unsure whether you enjoyed or detested the taste. I leaned towards the former, although Abba would always be daddy to me.
Luke, I'm so proud to see how selfless you are. You don't have to call me by that name if you're uncomfortable. I can't possibly replace what you've lost. However, I will do all in my power to lift you up and love you all the days I remain.
A solitary string of light flew down and swirled around me. Aka used this as a means of touching me in comforting ways, and I assumed he wished to embrace me, so I did. His rain analogy helped me appreciate something normally mundane and dreary. The coolness of the drops carried their own fount of serenity. That being said, being graced by divine warmth left me feeling grateful for both sides of the spectrum. The end of our meeting drew near. Neither of us wished to part, but we both knew what was required of me. Aka gifted me one last page of knowledge.
Scattered throughout Zoe are 5 cysts that give power to decay. I am doing everything I can to limit their spread. However, it is because of this that I am unable to exert any excess light. It's why I can't heal you fully. If you can destroy them, my light will be free. Unfortunately, that alone isn't enough. I won't detail the sorry tale to you again. You've been through enough already. All you need to know is that Zara's other half is somewhere out there in the forest. She vanished without a trace. I cannot feel her at all, yet if she didn't exist, I'd have perished. You must find the other half of Zara, Luke. That and the 5 cysts are all that's needed to save us all.
Where are the cysts? Sorry.
Despite the recent use of the word, my confidence was to be desired. To say I was embarrassed was insufficient. A more accurate adjective was frustrated. Those in tandem congregated and flustered me.
Luke, it's quite all right. You're still young. You'll pick up on these things in time.
Okay.
I wasn't sure I believed him, but either way, he proceeded.
In any case, you'll find them in these locations. There's one on an island to the west where waves crash frequently against the shores. It used to be connected directly to the land. Sadly, by destroying the bridge, they ruined our connection to it by land. There's another one deep in the dark forest to the north. Within those perilous thickets are thorns sharp as knives and countless predators who've adapted to the relentless environment there. Another lies in the far eastern mountains. Those frozen peaks are not for the faint of heart. Spirits such as yourself aren't strongly affected by weather changes, but your bodies have a limit. Just be ready for a cold climb. The far-gone fields east of your homeland host one. However, you'll stand no chance against the fumes there. Decay is by far the most concentrated and deadly. If you remove the other 4 cysts, perhaps you can tolerate the atmosphere, but as always, be vigilant. By that I mean, be careful, son.
I will. I promise.
Good. The last one is located somewhere in the desert, another very dangerous region. There's not much luxury and safety here, but I personally recommend you take care of the desert first. Past there is a jungle, and in there you'll be safe to settle down for a long time.
Settling down didn't seem wise. Our world was in crisis, and taking the time to rest for any moment when Aka's light could fail at any point felt wrong.
But don't I need to be fast? Decay is hurting you, and I don't want to rest if you're hurting.
You're very kind, Luke. There's no need to worry about me. Decay is formidable, but so am I. I could hold out here for a long time. You can't rest for too long, but you have all the time you need to grow up and get stronger. If you don't feel up to even handling one cyst yet, then make your way to the jungle. I will not rush you, son.
To tell the truth, the offer to settle down enticed me. 5 years of anguish practically had me begging for mental release. That being said, I desperately wanted to destroy Decay for all it's done. Therefore, I decided to take my rest after one final bout.
No, I'll find one there first. I guess it could be nice to rest for a little while. I'll go to the jungle when I finish there.
I think that's a wonderful idea. There's a few more things you should know.
What are they?
First of all, those memories you absorbed. I can sense you gathered Florin and glows. Those will allow you to use their abilities. It will take practice to master them, but I've no doubt you'll do great, son. A basic guideline to follow is to focus the light to wherever the power needs to go. Their powers come from their hands, so focus your light there. Remember, focus is the key.
Got it!
All right. Lastly,
A blue light suddenly appeared before crystallizing into a small, light blue shaft of translucent rock in front of me.
Whoa!
sorry, I didn't mean to scare you. Keep your eyes keen for these crystals throughout Zoe. They're fragments of my light given a physical shape. They will help give you energy when you cast certain powers. Florin and glows in particular will make you tired if you use them too many times in a row. You can either break them or simply absorb the light from the crystals. Has all of this made sense to you? I nodded. Then go forth, my light. I cannot be there for you in person, but I'll be right here whenever you need.
Thank you so much, Aka. I'll do my best.
Over fields of fluffy plants and through trees admittedly inferior to Aka's massive height, the long trek continued. I still missed Abba intensely. I recalled the many stories he'd tell and the lessons he gave. Stand tall, stand together, by far his most prolific teaching. It's because of this that I pushed on. I couldn't very well stand alone in all of this. I needed the help of others if I'd stand any chance against this grave threat. Who knows, some help may be in order sooner than you'd think. The long walk finally came to an end along a beautiful shoreline, untainted by decay. Aka's majestic form and eloquent tales moved me in ways that could only be described as inspiring. This I have no words for. My hind paws nagged and begged for rest, so I caved and allowed them a moment of rest under the leaves of a tall palm tree. In the meantime, thin waves along the vast shoreline washed the countless grains of sand. The darkened bits of tan offered a cool contrast to the heated dust I sat upon. The way sandy biomes were described to me in Abba's books kept my expectations low. Having sand caught between your toes and fur sounded uncomfortable, especially if it caught in your eyes. I can't say I was wrong, but the warm terrain added a tranquil quality to it. Before I even sat down, I incessantly tried removing all the little particles from my body. Fortunately, my tail was the easiest to clear. I wagged it a few times. I never did notice, but I found myself obsessively organizing my appearance quite often. If my antennae were misaligned, I'd do whatever it took to pamper them into place. And the same went for my fuzz layer of fur. I wouldn't go as far to say that I cared what others thought of my looks. It's more that it bothered me. A sensation always crept around the corner of my mind and reminded me that I needed to brush my fur a certain way. If I didn't, it'd result in a feeling of great unease and discomfort. My motivation for anything else stunted until I cleared the air, if you will. Thankfully, the cleaning job was easy this time. My paws were well rested, and I was raring to go. Despite my mentions of a shoreline, the actual body of water itself was incredibly shallow. It only rose past my legs. However, this made me realize that with the desert on the other side, I'd have more than enough sand coating my feet as I walked.
Really? It's okay. You'll be fine. Just ignore it.
What a cruel twist of fate. I still hate the irritating sensations. Why does sand need to be so clingy? Anyway, after reaching the other side, I feverishly shook my body all around in an effort to remove all the drips of water. Fortunately, only having a fuzz layer of fur made this easy. All that remained was the typical drenching water offered. Yet the worst lied beneath my feet. Coarse textures invaded my once soft personal space. Those lifeless daggers gave me miserable chills. I so desperately wanted to remove the source of distress, but for the greater good, I ignored them with all my might. I managed to drown out the sensation of mud throughout my body. I needed to apply the same regimen to sand. After all, sand was everywhere, and regardless of my feelings towards its coarse, rough, and irritating shape, I had to reach the first cyst. It never got easier ignoring the little parasites, but at the very least, they were quite warm. In fact, they were possibly the warmest substance I'd ever touched. The sun hit this open plain all day long, and intensely at that. Shadows seldom showed their face. Their fear for the rays of that glowing circle in the sky showed most assuredly here. The only available hiding spots were the various dunes strewn about, as well as long-since dead trees sparsely planted. Cacti, dried bushes, and various other forms of brush all concealed the shades from the sunlight that beat down on the environment. My fortunate circumstance, being a spirit, largely protected me. I never truly burned up as much as Abba described. That being said, I could tell my paws would wear out much quicker here. The arid sands pecked at all forms of life, mostly due to the sun's contagious temperatures. After an hour or so, I decided to take a brief break. I wasn't exhausted or anything, though I didn't want to wear myself down too early. I found a decrepit tree sown with intricate branches all along its body. Its sad, worn-down state seasoned the land in sorrow. I passed a small few of them along the way, and every time they served as reminders of what once was. The jungle once spread its roots all the way to the shore, but now its heart confined miles away. I barely had the chance to relax before an unwieldy sensation appeared with no warning. Ears rose, antennae buzzed, and fur stood tall as a dense purple fog began to form. Streaks of a darker fog swirled in tandem and surrounded me in an awful landscape conquered by poisonous drivel. A foul scent overwhelmed my senses, and occasionally resulted in a fit of coughs. Where did this familiar assault originate from? The river scoured my body, eating at whatever it could burn. This was different. Instead of eating me alive, the energy here simply sought to forebode and subtly attack.
Who's there?
A presence shrouded in the fog scraped along the sand, announcing itself, but never outright appeared. A brief scan around me revealed nothing. Nothing but shadows and wraith-like shapes. The presence either wasn't alone, or they were lightning quick. Aka did mention Leap's memory being stolen, so it very well could have been the latter.
You can't catch me!
Scratches, an airy cadence, a voice so coarse the sand couldn't compare.
What are you?
My options were precious few. I could climb high or try to make a break for it, yet because I'd been so scared, I never considered either. The only thing that made sense was to back against the tree, and so I did.
Gotcha!
A pair of pale purple arms from within the tree's seemingly impassable body squelched through and pinned me to the wall.
Ah! Let go! Let go of me!
I told you, you can't catch me!
Help! Help!
The situation became significantly more dire, as if it needed to be. Not a single binding restrained me, yet my frailty showed. Neither of their hugging arms even budged against my violent squirms.
I deserve to win! You cheated!
From the corner of my eye, another appendage grossly squeezed through in a sludge-squelching mess. What looked like a tail with sharp, Tyrion-folded blades reflected the faint light of the sun that peered from above us.
You cheated. It's payback time.
All this talk of races and cheating made me realize something. Leap was the fastest of the knights. I didn't know him personally, yet I knew Decay didn't have a voice. At least, not normally. The signs were clear. This was Gideon, who was using Leap's voice, or at least what could have been a contorted version of it. Their mentions of racing and cheating confirmed my suspicions. I never thought I'd meet one of the 5 knights quite like this. I knew it wasn't actually them, but still the association frightened me. The introduction only became worse when their tails slashed across my body 2 times.
You like that? It doesn't feel good, does it? Cheaters never prosper! He'll die for that. Last spirit.
As the blades carved 2 distinct marks into my skin, I wailed as I struggled ever more. I panicked, I kicked, I screamed. Tears streamed down my face. The singed sensations that recoiled down my chest and stomach had me begging for help. What's worse is that it didn't even end there. Their tail rose up, delicately dragging along my newfound scars as it went, before gently pulling away from my neck.
Are you ready?
3 simple words never sounded more intimidating. I resigned myself to the fate I knew was inevitable. Her tail armed itself for the finale as it pointed down towards my head.
Get set!
My eyes slammed shut as I pointed my head down. Everything I worked for, all the promises I'd made, they'd all be for nothing. Was this it? Could I truly be brought down so easily? Did I have what it takes to beat Gideon? In the end, fate smiled upon me. A sharp, fierce light cut straight through the relentless hands and blew them apart, splashing their toxins to the ground. Their tail recoiled, and out came a figure. Their body embodied the same shades and hues as their arms, and protruding from their back, bright spines tinted pink stuck out from pulsating pustules. They had no hooves or paws for feet, just pointed stilts and a long tail. The very tail that nearly committed to my end.
You meddlesome Stormeye! Come and face me, wretch!
Whoever they were, they clearly weren't here to listen. My savior fired again, and this time straight through their exposed form. Gideon went flying past me, and finally their fog subsided. Despite the cruel twists fate offered, this practically spoke like an apology. Unfortunately, I couldn't breathe for long. Those deep wounds soon pinched, stung, and burned.
Ow! Ow! Ow!
Mere chest clutching barely did anything to abate the pain. If only I brought restorative herbs with me. Nevertheless, those slash marks weren't the only point of note. Gideon had one final thing to say before vanishing into a cloud of fading decay.
We'll find you, last spirit. These words are already marked deep within you now.
Their very soulless tone disrespected everything we stood for. I thought that to be the end, but there was no memory to speak of. Gideon was still alive and walked free in Zoe. I didn't have time to dwell, though. A voice, like a whisper, caught my attention and startled me. Whisper isn't exactly right. It was more akin to the feel of one than actually quiet.
You okay?
Ow! Oh, it really hurts.
You should turn back. These scorched dunes aren't for the faint of heart.
I stared at the pair of lesions. Their darkened colorations struck the timidness in my heart. The feeling only grew as I saw diamonds introduce themselves to the air around me before fading into the sky. I turned towards who I assumed saved me. They held a crescent-shaped weapon made of thin wood, and bringing the gap of the intricately marked body was a string that glowed sapphire shades. The creature looked like Hamoki and spoke with a male cadence. However, their entire physique was not normal. Pale, fiery hues coated their body. Hints of red covered the undersides of paws, and a signature mask of fur with 3 points spread evenly on either side. The dominant colors were 2 tones of tan, which went lighter towards the upper half and darker below. The only shades left were orange for paw pads and yellow painted eyes. He also bore 2 more accessories besides his bow, a red makeshift belt holstering a knife, and a peculiar brown amulet depicting a tri-cut circle surrounded by 6 petals of a tan color. The fascinating fellow might have caught my continued interest if it weren't for those injuries.
I can't. I need to find something here. Ow!
Listen, kid, you've got no place here. Move along. I have more important things to do than babysit.
He seriously tried to wander off without me, regardless of the pained state I was in. For once, I refused someone's clear desires.
No! Help me, please! I don't know what I'm doing! I need to get through here! Don't leave me!
The only thing that would pull me away from soothing a serious injury was a hug opportunity. If my words wouldn't reach him, then surely my childish advance would. With bended knees, I reached up to his waist and embraced the strange Moki.